There it is. He timed it right. Counting
to explode with the left. Oh, and that right, but Davis took off some of the steam of the punch, but still.
Welcome to the motherfucking lady. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this, a recent quote from Samson Lewkowicz, David Benavidez's handler, who said, "For the record, anyone saying David is ducking Dmitry Bivol know this. I sent Bivol an $8 million offer.
Stop the cap.
Guaranteed person escrow to fight Benavidez in March of 2025, and he turned it down. You can Google it. At the time, it was 4 times Bivol's record salary, and he said no.
Stop the cap.
So David moved on, and after waiting for him and Canelo too long, he decided not to wait for anyone ever again. Those are the facts. I spoke to Samson Lewkowicz today, and he said, tell them, Camp Bivol, send a contract right now, and we'll go wherever and kick his ass.
Stop the cap.
Hard to believe while you're petitioning the WBC to fight their cruiserweight champion, Noel Mikhailian, that you're going to go drop down to light heavyweight to go kick Dimitri's ass or Artur's ass. These tactics from Samson Lewkowicz and David Benavidez, who still are on the PBC side of things, are tell-them age. We're all used to it by now, and it wasn't even me who said it. It was Joe Habib, friend of the channel, who said, first of all, unless Lewkowicz has got a personal loan from Chase Bank, he's not offering anyone $8 million. He's not in charge of the purse strings over at PBC. He's basically one of Benavidez's 13 advisors at this point. And advisor is right, because Samson Lewkowicz is more of an advisor and a manager than a promoter. How's he gonna promote? He doesn't have a broadcast deal. Nobody's giving him a budget. Joe continued, more importantly, he doesn't have the rights to deal with Amazon. PBC does. He's in no position to offer anybody anything. I agree. I'm to believe that Samson Lewkowicz, through PBC, offered Dmitry Bivol more money than Turkey did.
Yeah, fucking right.
Because you saw what he said. He's the one who made the offer, and it was several times Dimitri's highest purse, which I don't believe. I don't think Samson would offer Dmitry more money than Turkey did. Joe continued, at this point, is there anyone who actually takes this guy seriously anymore? The walls are starting to close in now. Team Benavidez is trying to do damage control, and it's not working. I remember when they claimed to have offered Canelo Alvarez $50 to $55 million for the Benavidez fight in 2023, as if either Samson Lewkowicz or David Benavidez have access to that kind of money, or are in any position to make Canelo an offer. Eerily similar to the shenanigans we saw with Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua years prior, where Deontay Wilder claimed to have offered Anthony Joshua $50 million for the fight, as if Wilder had access to that kind of money at that time. Nobody sat and thought about it. Wilder hadn't even been on pay-per-view yet you expect people to believe that you've got $50 million to offer this guy? Is that why you put a 24-hour deadline on it? Your $50 million offer. Sounds eerily similar to the $50 million Samson Lewkowicz claimed to have offered Canelo, eerily similar to the $8 million he now claims to have offered Dmitry. It's all hot air, it's all bullshit, it's more for the journos. It's more for the boxing writers to have something to write about when it comes to his fighter than actually making a fight. Samson ain't the guy that makes the offers at the PBC. Samson, to David Benavidez, is more of a glorified booking agent because, as stated, he doesn't have a distribution deal, a broadcast deal with a network to give him the money to make the offers. Technically, PBC doesn't either. Their arrangement with Amazon for the last 2.5 years hasn't been the same as what their arrangement was with Showtime. They're not getting a budget from Amazon, so they're not in a position to offer anybody $8 million? Supposedly an escrow. Give me a break. They're just relying on the same old tired shenanigans to try to save face in front of the boxing community because they know. They can tell a large chunk of that community is unimpressed that David Benavidez's light heavyweight campaign came and went without a Bivol fight, without a Beterbiev fight. They hear the gossips. They know what people like me have been saying, that I'm telling you he's not going to fight either of those guys. So when he doesn't, they need a reason. And what they're going to resort to is the blame game, the old he said, she said, and all the while, they're petitioning to fight Noel Mikhailian to stay in the cruiserweight division. In the buildup of the Zurdo Ramirez fight, more than once David assured that he can still get down to light heavyweight, and he means to after he beats Zurdo. But look at what they're doing now.
Look at what the story has turned into, and look at how it didn't even take long.
Anybody believes anything Samson Lewkowicz has to say needs to have their head examined.
And not just Samson Lewkowicz, really, anybody and everybody on David Benavidez' side of things.
Like Jose.
Jose Benavidez, who refutes Artur Beterbiev's talk of David Benavidez dodging the mega fight. David Benavidez' team isn't buying former undisputed light heavyweight champion Artur Beterbiev's recounting of conversations to arrange a high-profile showdown between the pound-for-pound members. They're lying. Benavidez' father, manager, and trainer, Jose, told Boxing Scene on Thursday, "We want to fight him. Let's make that fight happen. Tell the Beterbiev manager to contact me, and we will make that fight happen in 5 minutes. Do you have his manager's number? Let's go."
Stop the cap.
The time and the place for this kind of enthusiasm has long since passed.
We'll make that fight happen in 5 minutes.
While you're petitioning the WBC to fight somebody else at Cruiser, you're gonna make this fight in 5 minutes. Give me a break.
Stop the cap.
While Russia's 41-year-old Beterbiev told Match TV he sought to arrange a fight with Benavidez after the three-division champion from Phoenix defeated Anthony Yarde in November, the Benavidez camp said there was no contact with Beterbiev since their effort to make a match before settling on Yarde. Nothing happened, but we still want to fight him, Benavidez Sr. said. We're here to fight anybody. If Beterbiev's ready, let's make it happen. Who wants to fight? Let's see. I think they're all talk.
Everybody on your side talks more than Artur Beterbiev. I mean, this just boils down to discernment, to common sense. Artur Beterbiev's not one to mince words.
This guy doesn't talk much.
You guys, on the other hand, never shut the fuck up. Beterbiev threw similar accusations in Benavidez' direction, saying Benavidez is the kind of guy who talks a lot more than he does. Beterbiev said, "His team apparently didn't expect me to agree to fight him so quickly after the Yarde win, so they immediately changed their minds and chose Gilberto Ramirez." Benavidez won the unified cruiserweight title fight by 6th round stoppage on May 2nd, then visited Mexico last week to seek a date with WBC cruiserweight champion Noel Mikhailian. WBC President Mauricio Suleiman granted the request and designated Benavidez the mandatory contender Friday, minutes after Mikhailian and Zuffa Boxing cruiserweight champion Jai Opetaia were reported by Boxing Scene to be finalizing a deal to fight.
Hey, Jose, David said he can get back down to light heavy, so let him get back down to light heavy. Artur's free. He doesn't have a fight booked. You go back down to light heavy, let Jai Opetaia fight Noel Mikhailian for the green and gold title?
That's not gonna happen, and you know it. Suleiman said, Mikhailian will lose his belt, and Benavidez will have the opportunity to win it by facing interim champion Mikhail Cieslak if Noel doesn't comply with the order. Benavidez Sr. said he sought a fight of greater magnitude, contacting the unbeaten and recent IBF cruiserweight champion Jai Opetaia, Zuffa Boxing head Dana White, and Saudi Arabian boxing financier Turkey El Al Sheikh to no avail over recent weeks.
Yeah, that's according to Jose. According to the news and what's out there, Turkey reached out, made David an offer to fight Jai, and David turned it down.
A manager of Opetaia contacted Benavidez Sr., but there have been no follow-up conversations. As for Beterbiev, he vented that the selective choosing of opposition irritates him. "That's foreign to me," he said. Benavidez Sr. said his expectation through the silence has been that Beterbiev most wants a trilogy fight with the current three-weight world champion Dmitry Bivol, after the pair split their first two fights. "We're here to fight anybody, to prove David's the best. Come talk to Benavidez Sr., please."
Except that Artur Beterbiev hasn't been silent. From the moment that Dmitry Bivol went in for back surgery due to a herniated disc, Artur has said more than once that he wants to fight David Benavidez, to the point Turkey El Al Sheikh set it up to where they were going to box on the same show. That's not by accident. That's by design. There was effort in Saudi to put David in the ring with Artur.
That portion of Artur's story, it absolutely checks out, and I've been saying the whole time that even if you couldn't get your hands on Dmitry because he was out in surgery, just fight Artur.
He fought Zurdo.
A lot of what's going on now all boils down to discernment and common sense. Artur Beterbiev has never been the talkative type.
And not the type to get all wrapped up in he said and she said situations. I mean, the entirety of his career, I would say that this is probably the first time something like this has happened. And it's no coincidence that it involves David Benavidez.
Because that's more his bag, and that's more what his team are about, what you often see them involved in. He said, she said disputes. And so if Artur Beterbiev says that he was ready to fight David Benavidez, but David went in a different direction, I believe Artur. I don't believe Jose. I don't believe Samson.
I believe Artur.
This news comes to us at a time where David Benavidez is said to have already turned down an offer to face Jai Opetaia. He's just doing exactly what I expect him to do, and exactly what I told all of you he would do. He's not going to fight any of these people. That was never the plan.
They mentioned David Benavidez potentially going into free agency in the not-so-distant future. I've already detailed I don't expect him to go anywhere. I don't expect him to leave the PBC's protective shores, because he won't get away with these shenanigans anywhere else. That's why he's still over there now.
If he were to theoretically enter an arrangement with Turki El Sheikh exclusively, like Canelo, yeah, Turkey's gonna pay him. He's gonna pay him well. He's gonna pay him great. But what he's not gonna do is match him soft.
So don't expect David to do it.
When they had him go out there and fight Anthony Yard, you thought they had him fight Anthony Yard for the sake of fighting Anthony Yard? That was intended to be a prelude, an appetizer, to a Beterbiev fight that would have been the main course. It's very obvious. And if you don't have the discernment...
Remember that Dimitri was already out having back surgery. He was recovering, so Artur was the target.
That was the fight Turkey wanted to make. But why do you think that shortly after that, I mean right after he beats Anthony Yard, he announced the Zurdo Ramirez fight? I mean like right after that.
Don't you remember?
It was immediately after the Anthony Yard fight, David announced his intention to move up to cruiser and challenge Zurdo Ramirez many months in advance of when the fight happened, because the fight just happened in May.
It just happened last month.
So if you announced the fight late last year, many months in advance of when it actually happened, that must mean
you made it already.
Before you even laid a glove on Anthony Yard. You guys made that fight already. You already decided. After Yard, it's gonna be Zurdo. Beterbiev, he doesn't even come into it. Not for you guys.
Surprise, surprise.
For me, this is all much ado about nothing, because I've been telling you this whole time, for the better portion of what? The last year and a half, 2 years, that David started campaigning as a light heavyweight, that the campaign would come and go without Dimitri and without Artur. So now that he's at cruiserweight, there's little more to say about it. Nothing is gonna happen.
This is a hot button topic right now. This is a hot story in the news.
But if you've been following this channel for the last year and a half to 2 years, you would have already seen this coming, because I told you.
And now it's time for another installment of what is fast becoming the most popular segment here on the channel, Ring IQ Hate Mail!
Jerry's back.
Of course he is. Reacting to my recent video about the potential for either Ryan Rozicki or Chris Billum-Smith to face Jai Opetaia after their fight on Saturday, Jerry said, so CBS signed a Zuffa deal with a promise to fight Jai Opetaia next?
No, not exactly.
Well, damn. How many fucking fights did Opetaia have lined up next? The Benavidez fight is easy to make. Jai Opetaia.
Well, it would be if David Benavidez wasn't such a fucking pussy.
Fake ass bitch.
So let's establish that Chris likely did sign a contract that includes a Jai Opetaia fight, but it doesn't have to be next. Not when you consider that Chris is fighting this weekend. So he wouldn't be available to fight Jai for some months, and that's if he even wins.
Guy's fighting in June. Guy likely doesn't come back till the fall or winter.
Where Turki El Sheikh is already said to have made David Benavidez an offer on behalf of Jai for late summer.
You want to address that now or later?
That David Benavidez is reported to have been made an offer to fight Jai, which he already rejected. At which point, Jai then moved to fight Noel Mikhailian.
None of which is hard to understand.
The moment that your boy quacked, they tried to get somebody else. That's not hard to understand. So you're either stupid or playing stupid, neither of which would surprise me, because to be a David Benavidez fan, it involves a certain requisite level of cognitive dissonance. You either have to be dumb or play dumb.
Because what does Chris's contract with Zuffa have to do with David Benavidez? What does that have to do with David ducking?
You know what you're missing, Jerry? that Jai Opataya could very well be Chris Billum-Smith's next fight because Chris is fighting in June, right? Jai was supposed to be coming back in August against somebody else, right? So that if Jai would have had the fight in August against either David Benavidez or Noel Mikhailian, right, he still would have been Chris's next fight in the fall or the winter months when Chris returns, because fighting in June, it's not likely that Chris fights again over the summer months. This is all common sense.
Sometimes I don't know if Jerry really is this dumb or if he's just playing, because Jai Opataya being Chris's next fight doesn't mean that Chris is Jai's next fight.
Do you not understand that?
No, he doesn't. And I think with Jerry and other guys like him, I think we're past the point of sensible and sensical, cohesive, common sense arguments, because if Jerry had any common sense, he wouldn't be a David Benavidez fan. He wouldn't make it his full-time job to constantly apologize.
Like, what are you, his defense attorney?
Any video where David's in the thumbnail, any video where David's in the headline, where he's even mentioned, here comes Jerry, like it's cute or something, like it's charming, you look like a fucking idiot. And having spoken to you in real time, you sound like a fucking idiot.
How do you think you sound to other people doing your best impersonation of a WWE character?
And these arguments you like to make, do you actually think you're convincing anyone of anything? The truth is that the truth is on my side. It always has been. If it weren't, you wouldn't argue so vehemently against me. If I were a guy who's got a track record of constantly getting things wrong, you wouldn't spend this much time on it. On this channel.
If I were a guy who had a track record of constantly getting things wrong, who would spend this much time on me?
Why?
As much as you spend on here?
Why?
If I always got it wrong?
Why?
I almost always get it right. And that's why you want to convince me that David's not the bad guy here, that he's somebody that I should support. So pay attention that in any David Benavidez video I do, there are several people in the comment section that are saying the exact same things that I'm saying, and Jerry,
he doesn't talk to them.
Even when they talk to him through his long-winded comments, when they reply, he doesn't reply back. Not to them.
Because he only wants to talk to me. He only wants to convince me.
He figures if he can convince me, he can, in effect, convince them. Certain inconvenient truths that the truth in and of itself is often mundane and unpopular. This is not one of the bigger boxing channels in the YTBC or one of the more well-known ones. It's not.
The bigger channels actually seem to like David. They're pushing propaganda in favor of that fighter enough that Jerry shouldn't be so bothered over what I think.
So pressed about it, and you know that he is, because any video with David in the thumbnail or in the headline, here he comes.
He's watching.
He's waiting. Why would he spend this much time on a channel that isn't even that big? It's because this channel's often right. Those channels are often wrong.
Those channels don't know how to analyze anything. They just pander to their audience, tell them what they want to hear. Jerry, underneath it all, he knows that. He fears that.
You can't take any comfort. It's no assurance when the bigger channels say that David's the real thing, because they've been wrong so many times. They've gotten it wrong so many times before. If anything, it makes Jerry nervous.
And extra nervous when I say, David is a fucking fraud.
If you want to like him, then like him. Go ahead. But he's a fucking fraud. And his time will come. It's not a coincidence that both Artur and Jai are calling this guy a duck. Their word counts for a lot more to me than David's, and anything anybody on his side has to say.
I don't believe nothing from that side.